The heat doesn't care what you're carrying. Your holster fills with sweat. Dust gets into everything. And the only guns that make the cut are the ones that just plain run. For a long time, that meant polymer pistols and not much else. But wheel guns have been hitting the gym, and 2026 revolvers are a whole different animal. In this video, we're looking at 7 modern revolvers that mix old-school reliability with new-school tricks. Scandium and titanium frames, stainless built to live in a truck door, smart calibers like 9mm, 22 caliber WMR, and 32 caliber H&R Magnum, tritium sights you can actually see, moon clips that reload like a race gun, and optics-ready setups that don't apologize for being fast. If you've ever written off revolvers as slow, low-capacity dinosaurs, hang around. These things are lean, mean, and very much alive. Let's get into it. Modern EDC wheel guns. All right, let's talk about carrying guns in the real world. We're not just talking about standing on a range all day in your favorite tactical vest. No, we're talking about real life, where you're sweating in 100-degree heat, just trying to make sure your carry gun is ready when you need it most. You need a gun that's lightweight, reliable, and won't throw you off balance. If you're thinking revolvers are a thing of the past, let me show you how the Smith and Wesson 940 and the Smith and Wesson 432 UC are rewriting the rules. The Smith and Wesson 940 is what happens when somebody says, "I want a duty cartridge in a classic wheel gun." All stainless construction gives you real durability and a little extra weight to soak up recoil, while the short barrel keeps it genuinely concealable. It's a 9mm revolver, which already sounds a little spicy, but it makes a ton of sense. You get modern defensive loads, cheaper practice ammo, and the ability to share ammunition with a pistol already riding in your range bag. The real party trick, though, is moon clips. Instead of peeling rounds out of a speed loader, you just drop in a whole cluster of cartridges and slam the cylinder shut. For a snub, that's as close to race gun reload as it gets. Add a bright tritium front sight and those grippy VZ stocks, and the 940 feels like a tiny fighting gun, not an afterthought. Swing over to the Smith and Wesson 432 UC, and the vibe changes. This is the gun for folks who want something so light they forget it's there until they need it. An aluminum alloy frame and titanium cylinder cut the weight down into the featherweight zone, and that lets you actually carry the thing all day in a pocket. Ankle rig, or deep concealment holster. Instead of beating you up with .357 or even .38s, it's chambered in 32 caliber H&R Magnum, a really smart middle ground. You get 6 rounds instead of 5, noticeably softer recoil, and performance that still outclasses the rimfire stuff by a long shot. XS tritium sights and chamfered charge holes rounded out into a gun that's built to be used, not just carried. Together. These two snubs show what modern revolver really means in 2026 smart calibers. Real sights, faster reloads, and materials that keep the weight where you want it. One leans into shootability and shared ammo. The other leans into comfort and capacity. Either way, you're not dragging a dinosaur around. You're running a purpose-built EDC tool, and if you've ever written snubbies off as miserable to train with, these two will absolutely change your mind fast for good. Race gun DNA in a wheel gun body. Now, if you thought the 940 and 432 UC were the pinnacle of modern revolvers, just hold on to your hat. We're about to take things to a whole new level. When you think of a race car, you probably imagine something fast, sleek, and built to perform. Well, the Smith and Wesson 327 WR is basically the race car of revolvers, and it's got the specs to back it up. Let me set the stage for you, Jerry Mikulek. The man who can shoot a steel plate faster than most folks can blink, uses this exact style of revolver to set world records. We're talking 6 steel plates from the draw in under 2 seconds. Yeah, you heard that right. This is the kind of wheel gun that makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about revolvers. And you can own it. That's right. The Smith and Wesson 327 WR is available to us regular folks now, and it's got the tech to make your jaw drop. First things first, let's talk materials. The frame is made from scandium, which means it's light but tougher than a two-stepping Cowboy on a hot summer day. It's paired with a titanium 8-shot cylinder, so you're getting 8 rounds of 9mm, which is a lot of firepower for a revolver that only weighs around 35.5 ounces. That's light enough for fast target transitions and quick follow-up shots, but still solid enough to handle the recoil like a champ. And the barrel. A 5-inch quad-port design that reduces muzzle rise so you can stay on target. For the folks at home, that's like cutting the weight of a dump truck off your shoulders. You don't realize how much difference it makes until you feel it. What's even cooler is the CORE Optic Ready system. That means this bad boy is ready for a red dot sight right out of the box. So, whether you're after a quick target acquisition or just want to look extra sharp at the range, this revolver's got you covered. Add the brass bead or gold bead front sight, and you've got a setup that'll help you hit every time. And trust me, when you're ripping through steel plates, every millisecond counts. You don't want your sights to be the weak link. The Smith and Wesson 327 WR has its optics and sighting system dialed in for speed and accuracy. Now let's talk about the moon clips. You know I'm all about efficiency, and this revolver reloads faster than a jackrabbit on a cactus. The moon clips make reloads lightning fast. Seriously, you could strip and refill that cylinder in a heartbeat if you had to. Compare that to your average .357 revolver, which takes way longer to reload. And the 327 WR makes you feel like you're holding a modern competition gun, not an old-school wheel gun. But here's the kicker. You're not just buying a fast gun, you're buying a statement. Show up to your next match with the Smith and Wesson 327 WR, and people are going to notice. This isn't some everyday revolver you toss in your range bag. This is the kind of tool that gets you respect from other shooters. And let me tell you, this thing is built for folks who want to push the limits. Whether you're aiming to be the fastest, the most accurate, or just looking to own the best tech in revolvers, the Smith and Wesson 327 WR is going to give you that edge. It's not for the faint of heart. But if you're serious about performance, this is the wheel gun that'll make you a legend at the range. Now, let's step off the track and hit the backcountry. If the 327 WR is your track-ready contender, the next set of revolvers are the backcountry warriors you take when the bears start circling and you need something that can handle whatever the wild throws at you. Backcountry insurance. When you leave the pavement in Texas, the rules change. Out past the last gas station, nobody cares what your split times are on cardboard targets. Out there, it's hogs in the mesquite, coyotes in the fence line, and maybe something big and mean that doesn't scare easily. That's where the fancy race gun stuff takes a back seat, and you start caring about power, durability, and a trigger you can trust with cold hands and a hammering heartbeat. Picture this, you're miles from the truck, sun dropping, wind kicking up dust across a dry creek bed, and on your hip is something like the H&R N670. German engineering meets pure .44 Magnum muscle. It's all stainless steel, built like a bank vault, but it isn't some clumsy brick. The fluted cylinder trims rotational weight, and that cold hammer-forged polygonal barrel isn't just there to look pretty. It's match grade, tuned for accuracy and long life. The kind of tube you can feed full power 44 loads through for years. Inside, Spore skips the cheap EMIM lockwork and goes with wire-eroded, hardened steel parts, which is a fancy way of saying the trigger feels like a custom job straight from the factory. Around 2.5 to 3 pounds in single action, crisp as breaking glass. When you line up on a feral hog slipping through the brush at dusk, that kind of consistency matters. Now swing the camera stateside, back to something that feels more familiar, the Colt Grizzly in .357 Magnum. This is the trail gun for folks who want serious power without stepping all the way up to big bore punishment. Stainless construction again, because rust never sleeps, and neither does Texas humidity. The unfluted cylinder adds a little extra mass, soaking up recoil and adding strength. And those adjustable target sights mean you can actually zero the gun to your preferred load, instead of just praying your point of impact is close enough. Double action for fast. Reactive shots on a snake or coyote that pops up too close. Single action if you've got a second to breathe and make that precise hit. What both of these revolvers have in common is simple their insurance policies when help is hours away. No magazines to lose, no finicky controls to baby along, just big cartridges, strong steel, and grips designed to keep the gun anchored when you light off something spicy. The Sporter N670 leans into precision and refinement. The Colt Grizzly feels like a classic American tool, updated for the modern backcountry. Different flavors. Same mission if it goes bad way out there. You want steel and horsepower, not excuses. Cowboy classics and pocket rockets. There's this funny split in the revolver world right now. On one side, you've got folks who still dream about cowboy guns and leather rigs. On the other, you've got people who just want something tiny that disappears in a pair of gym shorts. The cool part is, 2026 wheel guns don't make you pick a team. You can have both, the full-size ranch hand and the pocket rocket. And they're both a lot smarter than they look at first glance. Take the Ruger Bisley Blackhawk convertible. This thing looks like it walked straight off a movie set. But under the skin, it's all business. You've got that Bisley grip frame with its lower, more vertical angle that helps tame recoil when you're sending full house .45 Colt downrange. Stainless steel construction, adjustable sights, and the kind of single-action trigger that breaks so clean it almost surprises you. It's the gun you wear on the ranch when you're checking fence lines or dealing with hogs that won't take a hint. The real magic, though, is in those two cylinders, one for .45 Colt, one for .45 ACP. Out here, that's freedom. You want old-school thump for hunting or four-legged problems. Load up .45 Colt with a heavy hardcast. You want cheaper ammo or to share rounds with your 1911 or polymer .45. Drop in the ACP cylinder and go to work. No special tools, no drama. Just swap the cylinder, and you've got a whole different personality in the same revolver. It's like having a dually diesel and a daily driver wrapped into one rig. Swing to the opposite end of the spectrum, and you land on the North American Arms Sentinel in .22 caliber WMR. If the Ruger is your saddle gun, the Sentinel is the little secret riding in your pocket while you're grilling in the backyard. 17.4 stainless steel from stem to stern, a frame so small it vanishes in your palm, and a 5-shot cylinder chambered in .22 caliber Magnum. But unlike the old NWA minis where you had to pull the pin and pop the cylinder out, this one runs a swing-out cylinder. So reloads actually feel like a real revolver, not a watchmaker's project. They even gave it real sights and real grips. XS-style front sight options, including tritium, mean you can actually pick up that front blade instead of just guessing over the top of the barrel. The rubber grip with pebble texture keeps the gun anchored when that little Magnum snaps in your hand. It's still a tiny gun, no doubt, but it doesn't feel like a novelty. It feels like the gun you carry when you absolutely, positively cannot carry anything bigger. Ankle rig, pocket, tackle box, you name it. What ties these two together is simple. Both are honest tools that punch above their weight in their own lanes. The Ruger Bisley Blackhawk convertible gives you big bore authority and caliber flexibility In a classic single-action package, the North American Arms Sentinel gives you always-there insurance in a size that never gets left at home. One rides your belt when you're working under the sun. The other lives in a pocket when you're just running into town. Different roles. Same idea. Modern revolvers that respect the past but are built for how we actually live and carry today. All right, y'all. That's our look at 7 modern wheel guns that prove revolvers aren't dead. They just got smarter. From 9mm moonclip snubs to titanium .32 calibers, to big-bore backcountry bruisers and tiny .22 caliber mag pocket rockets. There's a real-world job for every one of these, not just a line on a spec sheet. Drop a comment with which one you'd actually carry, or which one you want to see on the channel next. Hit like, smash subscribe, share this with a buddy, and I'll see you on the next one. Keep your powder dry and your steel ringing.